strategies were complete nonsense, the one in 2000 and the one in 2005. And it was clear from the very beginning, the idea was to create a knowledge-based society, which implies to some extent that we would create knowledge and Chinese would work for us. Of course, we are buying very much from China, so if you compare exports and imports from European Union to China, the exports are approximately 1/3 of imports from China. Unfortunately, they are not buying our knowledge, because knowledge is extremely mobile, even more than capital. And I think here was the main mistake of European Union, and I would say European Commission. Namely, they believed that globalization would actually help European Union. In fact, it is a kind of a problem in European Union. And if you look to the new strategy after two nonsenses, which were based completely on supply-side economics, then there was no demand problem. And now the third strategy actually starts to talk about globalization as a problem which is similar to the problem of aging of the population. So suddenly they reversed the whole thing, but I think I would blame Europe and European Commission to allow multinationals from Europe to go to these countries without respecting even, let's say, the lowest social standards which exist in Europe. So I would not say that they should, let's say, obey the Swedish standards, but at least, you know, some standards should be obeyed also in the countries in which they go. So from the time being, I do see the solution in what I could call closing down of European Union. Otherwise, I don't believe that Europe can compete with much more ruthless societies in the world. So that's to some extent what will be the future of Euro. I don't know, it's a political project, and the decisions will be also political, and I don't believe that economics will have very much to say about the future of Europe. And if we are talking about Greece, you know, now solving Greece is actually solving German and French banks, and not so much Greece. We would not care very much for Greece. And I would like later to talk about your reliance to foreign direct investment and your difference between GDP and GNP because of foreign direct investment, because usually here everybody says, okay, we should use Irish model. I don't believe in the models. I'm old enough, and I still believe that at some point we all believed in Japanese model. So okay, that's it.
Before the Kobe,
Sure.
Before the Kobe earthquake in 1992, everyone believed in the Japanese model. No one nowadays believes in the Japanese model. Well, I'll turn to my other Slovenian friend here. What is your reaction to all this, please? Or what do you think about the experience of your Euro?
Thank you very much first for inviting me here and have the opportunity to talk a little about on the Euro issue. First, I would like to have two remarks. I'm not one of the European skeptics, but I have some skeptic remarks on the European Union. Quite critical in what happened in the last years, and I will discuss a little bit about that. And secondly, I'm looking at the European Union and Europe from a more microeconomic approach. So basically, because really dealing with macroeconomic models and so on in last years. Now, first of all, I would like to start like you did, you know, from the Lisbon Treaty of Lisbon strategy. It was lots of hopes because the words in Lisbon strategy were really big, the most advanced knowledge-based society and so on. Basically, there were 9 major goals there, and we can say that maybe one of those goals were really accomplished. So basically, it was more a political document than really solid-based economic strategy. And the more and more the European Union is adopting other members and so on, we can see that it's basically a political project, not so economic project. project. Now, I was in the government that produced the tons of materials and legislation from 2000 to 2004 when we entered the European Union, and we all, with a lot of respect, used French word, the acquis, adopting the acquis communautaire. And I must say, I was a Minister of Labour at that time, and we produced, I don't know, tens of thousands of pages and documents and legislation and so on. And in the end, we didn't really know what was in those documents. You know, I mean, we figured that we knew, but later on, you know, most of the legislation, or a lot of legislation, will have to be adapted and to the real world, so to speak. You know, I mean, there's no time, you know, to go over the tons of legislation that we did at that time. From an economic standpoint, when we entered the European Union, we really entered into the market that we're really in, because more than two-thirds, even more than two-thirds of our export-import partners, the European Union, or members of the European Union. So basically, we, with the entrance of the European Union, we actually solidify, you know, the grounds, and basically adopted the regulations and legislations that created the so-called common market. Now, about Slovenia, you know, it's like Professor Mencinger's, whose opinion I really admire, and basically we followed him as an opinion leader. But I must say that it's really at this point inconclusive, you know, the entrance to the Eurozone. You know, we still figure that the entrance to the EU market, the EU, was a positive, let's say, decision to Slovenia as a small nation with high aspiration to become member of the advanced, you know. However, for example, four days ago we were adopted to the OECD, and basically that was almost non-existent, you know, in the newspapers, you know, although it was really the club, OECD is really the club, you know, that we started to enter, I think in 1995 was one of the first meetings in Paris. I was State Secretary at that time, and we had a big discussion about the entrance to the OECD. Now, so going back, you know, what is the let's say the benefits, you know, of the entrance to the euro at this point is inconclusive. But I can say that in the period, you know, from 2007 to 2010, there were two really sub-periods, if I must say that, you know, but I will put that into the question marks. Namely, in 2007, yeah, was the year that we had one of the highest growth rates, you know. But I would say it was not really, let's say, related, you know, to our entrance to the Eurozone. It was more to the other macroeconomic environment, contextual variables. Now, in last year, so from 2009 to 2010, we had one of the highest drops in the macroeconomic growth rate, you know, minus 99 percentage points. And we also cannot say that it was because of the euro, so to speak. You know. So we need a little bit more time, so to speak, about our judgment, you know, what really happened after entering to the euro. I would claim that most of the people using now euro currency are now happy because Slovenians travel a lot, you know, so we don't need to use other currencies, let's say in Germany, in Austria, and so on. Previously, you need to have, you know, lots of currencies in the pocket, you know, for example, lira, you're full of lira, and then you're left somewhere on you know, drawer, you know, liras, and on the other hand, you know, when you go to Austria, you had shilling and so on. So basically, for Slovenia, Slovenians, you know, who are really travelers, so to speak, you know, euro is a positive sign. However, you know, on the long term, you know, there are more and more people, you know, that are asking, even renowned people, experts and so on, asking whether euro was a good choice, you know. At this point, also, I must say, you know, that we are inconclusive about really what happened, because the period is really small, and it's more related to our entrance to the European Union than to our adoption of the euro. to be a little bit more critical about the economic and social situation